What a day. It's been intense, right? There have been moments when I've been looking over and saying, I wonder if they've got any more slides. But every time there was a slide that really had a moment and meant something, I think. It was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So we... Oh, do I have to... Oh, for those people over there, so they can't hear me. I might have to walk around with.
You're tethered now.
So we started the day with a very warm welcome from Olivia Parat from National, who's been a great supporter of Ifan, and in fact he reminded us that 50 years ago we actually were formed in AFNOR. It wasn't here, it was somewhere else, but in AFNOR. So it was wonderful that he was able to host us back at AFNOR 50 years later. But he also reminded us how young we were. We were only 50 years, and AFNOR is going to turn 100 in 2 years. And then I think the lead talked about Lord Kelvin, who he said would be 200 years old if he was still alive. So I feel we're quite young, so we have a long way to go. But it was a very, very warm welcome, and we appreciated his words of encouragement. And he's been a great supporter. AFNOR has been a great supporter for a long time. He highlighted the importance of users' involvement in the standards development process. And he also talked about the need to have standards users involved and experts involved who were contemporary. The standards are changing and evolving all of the time. He stressed the importance of standards makers and regulators keeping to their unique roles. So standardisers shouldn't try and become regulators, and regulators shouldn't try to become technical experts and write standards. So those two roles needed to be kept separate, if you like, aligned but the unique roles. We then moved on to Vera, who welcomed us, our new president, and it's great that she has taken on the role. And I'm sure you know that IFAN is a volunteer organisation, so all of the effort that the IFAN members put in are basically voluntary, like the committee members on the committees at ISO and everywhere else. So Vera, wonderful to have you as president, and thank you for sort of driving the last 12 months of our sort of 50th year so effectively. Sergio, Philippe and Elena, excellent to have three of them here. I mean, it's just fabulous to have the head of the three organisations here with us, and I think it demonstrates their recognition and their support for the work that we do, which is wonderful. There was discussion then about building more collaboration, support for new and emerging standardisation needs, modernisation of the development tools, attraction of experts in new areas, and maintaining the traditional technologies. Because one of the things we know as standardisers is that standards that have been developed over the last 100 years need to be maintained. Doesn't mean every time they're reviewed they need to be changed, but at least somebody has to look at them and make a decision that the standards are still current and relevant. They talked about reaching out to policymakers, again, and defining, which I thought was a common theme has come through a few times, the sort of public-private partnership between standards makers and regulators. And also this issue of, the language of standardisation. For example, I think we've all, if we work in the standards world, been, at a barbecue or somewhere, somebody walks in and says, "Oh, hi, I'm Ross. What do you do?" And then they say, "Oh, I work in the standards area." So, what? Oh, you're regulated? No. Oh, you work for the government? No. And then half an hour later, you kind of roughly explain, and I used to just get out the credit card, and asked if they've ever thought how that all has to work and fits into every machine and connects and secure and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, that's what we do. And then, of course, there's the wonderful JPEG stand, the Motion Picture Engineering Group. It's won, I think, 4 Emmy Awards, that committee, for technical contribution to the motion picture industry. So there's a great example of standards technology being recognised by the users. Wonderful. All voices need to be heard. Elena talked about the world is too complex. Well, you know, I've got a headache thinking about all this stuff we're just talking about today. And of course, we've only touched on just a microcosm of the world of standardisation today. Very important, a microcosm. There was a suggestion that perhaps one of the things that Ifan could try and do is point users to the right door. So we have industry, users in industry wanting to know, how do I get involved? How do I work in the standards area? Can standards help me? Then Ifan's got a very valuable role in helping them understand how to access this standards. And also, Ifan could, I think, standards users could be very helpful. So an ISC, the regulators and so on, about what we do in presenting case studies. So here's some examples of standards being used out there in the marketplace. And then we moved on to the gender responsive session. That was great. That was great. I mean, I was nervous, I have to say. I mean, I think I am very responsive, and I think I'm very aware, but I still felt uncomfortable about this session and the conversation we were going to have, and I wasn't quite sure how I'd handle it. But it was wonderful, and now I feel much more relaxed and much more, in fact, I thought it was bloody good, to be quite frank, the whole session. I thought I shouldn't say that, but I thought it was very good. And we talked about, it's a little small discussion about also, I mean, there were women, and there were women with menstrual issues, menopause, and with disabilities. Right? So there's this whole range of issues we need to think about when we write and develop standards. And I was speaking with one of our speakers on that topic at lunch about, I live in Australia, right? I spend probably 3 or 4 months of each year, and have done for the last 30 years, flying around the world doing business. And all I could think about when this conversation was going on was about, you know, we talked about how the suitcases didn't have wheels, and then suddenly put wheels on it, made it very easy for me, but also for women, right? The trouble is, what happens when you get on the plane? Then you've got to somehow lift it up, you know, into that. Now, I'm reasonably tall, I look fairly hefty, and I can't tell you the amount of times that I've said, I can help you put your bag up there, but it's a woman. Not so tall, maybe not so strong to lift the bag up, it's difficult. Or even a flight attendant, many of them are women. I'll close that for you, right? Anyway, I buggered my shoulder. So I fly all the way up from Australia and I couldn't help anybody. In fact, I couldn't even put my own bag up. I had to ask someone to help me. So then so what are we going to do about that? And then when you get to the airport, out to Terminal 5, I love Terminal 5 in London. I love it. Great terminal. Everything's fast. I use my passport, straight through, bang, I'm down there. I'm the first one up the carousel. But of course, then there's all the bags. My bag's the last one to come out, by the way. I was first there, last bag. But then there's all these people around me, women, young kids, elderly people, trying to get their bags off the carousel. It's hard, right? It's all right once you get it off and you get it stood up and you put it on the trolley, or you can wheel it. So we have a lot more to do, right? But I can't comprehend how you can design an aeroplane today fly all around the world and design modern airports and terminals. There's billions of dollars being spent on terminals and not fix this problem. I don't know how to fix it, but I'm sure it's within mechanical engineers, perhaps, to sort out this issue. Hydrogen. Wow. Guess who's got a hydrogen car? Huh? She's been going on and on and on about this hydrogen car of hers. So I go out and I meet Rajan. Where?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
And he gives me his card. It's from the Hydrogen Industry Association or something. And, oh, yeah, fantastic. And then we had that wonderful talk on hydrogen.
The first, actually, that I've ever heard. My first hydrogen presentation.
It was great. It was great.
Yep.
And it was momentous that I could say to them, come over and meet my American friend. Although I did note, I think there was some news today that the US is going to ban imported cars from China.
Yeah, they've been working on the concept.
But you've already got yours, right? The trust issue and the thing we talked about, and confidence. I mean, the thing about all this wonderful technology, I gave a talk a couple of years ago at IEC about sort of the confluence of what's happening at the moment with 5G. I mean, the speeds are just unbelievable. The Internet of Things, everything's connected to everything. Yeah. And artificial intelligence, how are we actually going to deal with this? It's enormous. But if we don't get the security protocols right, the regulation right, and the trust is not there, then it's all over. And you talk about data governance. A few years ago, there was a proposal to provide a data bank somewhere for the human genome, right? And make it sort of publicly available so people could. But you have to put the data in, you have to be able to take the data out, and then you have to be able to use it. Well, who are you going to trust to look after that? I don't know. But you don't want to have this massive database duplicated in 100 locations. And it sort of still, I don't quite understand, but AI and Bitcoin and all these things, the energy consumption is off the planet. You know, it's just mind-boggling. So very interesting and very poignant, I think, very useful. And it was wonderful, the machine. I was just wondering, I think you said a machine is anything that moves? What did you say? Anything that?
For specific function, or specific application. You need to have one part that moves.
Yeah, so can you do something about me?
So you are a machine.
Well, I'm a machine, right? So it was fantastic, but a fantastic day. And I know Vera will thank the speakers, but can I also just say what a wonderful day it was, and what fantastic organisation and support from our secretary, Grenadier from AFNOR, who had a few little connections, didn't we, on rooms and all that sort of thing, but it's been fantastic, absolutely. And also I should thank our president as well, and all of you who've come along. So that's my summation. I've probably left out lots of things and lots of people, but I thought it was a great day, absolutely great day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ross. As usual, you know how to wrap up things, and I'm really thankful for you. That's it for today. We're all very tired. We had a lot of information to observe. It's been an insightful day. Thank you all for coming here. Special thank you for AFNOR, for Akanor, and of course for Laurent, where are you here, and for Christine, Andrea, Nicola, Claudia, and all of you for being here, for being so helpful. and see you next time.